What is middleware? What is middleware? Yeah, because you talk.
You used the analogy so aptly before.
Yeah, I realized that. But welcome back to Launch Time. Putti's very own podcast, where we aim to serve you up with our world being behind technology and how it happens, how it works. So you will experience through these videos or podcasts, wherever you're listening from, you will experience interviews between me, Tommy, your host, and the people behind the action. And today is quite awesome because our guest has graced us with his presence all the way from the windy city of Wellington. Logan in the house. Hey.
Hello.
Great one-word answer.
Thank you.
I guess we've started the whole interview. I know what you do, and I think it's super awesome. But for the purpose of everybody listening and meeting you for the first time, can you tell everybody what you do, if you're a dog or a cat person?
Okay, yeah, sure. So my name's Logan. I'm a business analyst here at Putti. So I guess that's mostly, at the beginning of projects, a lot of the requirements gathering and more of the getting into the nitty-gritty details of everything. So exactly what the app needs to do and what where it needs to connect, and then explaining that to the designers and then developers, and then just so once I've kind of done all that requirements gathering, it kind of goes into more just helping to manage the meetings and making sure the project's running on time.
Sounds like a lot of explaining and a lot of
analysis and
Yeah. You said quite a few things that I want to unpack a little bit. So I think the best place to start is the role or the title, which is a title is generally, specifically here in Putti, the title generally depicts what we contribute to the mission, right? And so when you say business analyst, why is it called that? And why does a company like Putti, a tech shop, need a business analyst? I mean, you'd think a consulting firm would have a business analyst or, some other kind of company. But why here? When what we do is build apps.
I guess so. You need someone, I guess, who's kind of there with and talking to the clients and understands, I guess, their business needs. You need someone, I guess, who knows why they need to do it, because I guess from a designer and maybe even a developer point of view, they're creating a product, but they not necessarily know the why. Yeah. Whereas it's helpful to have someone there who knows the why and knows what they're building, so that you can help to the clients to suggest things, and then as things are going, you can explain how features need to work, because they're trying to get the business needs to get this across. So if you don't have that kind of person there, then that's where you kind of have that disconnect in communication.
Right. Yeah. And things could go very wrong.
Yeah, there's that meme, a project management meme, where it's you ask all of the different people in a design team to build a tree, a swing on a tree. Yeah. And it's depending on the different people you would ask in a team, it's how they would actually build that.
You say memes, and what comes to mind immediately is this dog character saying it's fine, and then it's I understand, right? So it's almost bridging the gap between the concept and the actual technology that has to be built, or the work that has to be done to build the technology to create that experience. Hey, would you say that what you do is kind of an architect in terms of building a building, because you'd have to work with a client and understand their vision, or at least not their vision, their concept, and then draw it up so you could give it to an engineer to go away and build it?
Yeah, I guess to some extent that's probably a good analogy.
I'm not great at these analogies. Okay, so cool. So does it mean you work directly with the clients, hey?
Yes, yeah. So a lot of the time I'll be in the meetings, running the meetings, if it's in the middle of a project.
By your answers, the stages are before the project, during, and kind of
and then a lot of another probably quarter of the stuff I do is post stuff for like support things, or like if something's going wrong, like investigating the issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before the project even starts, what is the main deliverable?
For me, it's like normally like an Excel spreadsheet with like the different areas that like the app or like thing will have, and then all of like the requirements, kind of almost like a scope list, but not a bit more like maybe detailed of what the requirements are. And then otherwise, if it's like a workshop or something though, then I'll put it together like the documents for like all of the different parts.
Right, and the scope list is generally based off of the user stories. Is it? Or not?
Well, I don't know. It's there's different ways to get to that scope list. Or it's just off the requirements, and then you kind of build the scope off the requirements.
Once that's like wrapped up and everybody's like, yeah, you got it. That's all systems go. What then happens? I mean, you don't have to go like detail, but just generally, I mean,
like in terms for me, like my job.
No, I imagine it's like a handover process to the people who will actually do the execution, right?
Yeah. So normally it's you'll have someone like Moon who like go into a bit more of like the technical side about how everything has to be done. Yeah, and then someone like me will have to explain the project to, I guess, the team once it's assembled, and then like kind of walk through what it's needed. Well, actually, you'd have to do the design first. So then I would have told the designers already, like, and worked with them to like, when we'd make sure that the design looked all good, and then that would go to the developers, and then. So
it seems like you're involved all the way through that.
Yeah, typically, yeah.
So would you say without you, things are just gonna fall? Is that... There's a star. Folks, like, we wouldn't exist without him. That's okay, but like this is cool because it kind of shows that what we do in Putti requires us to understand a business really well, or the business that's being set up, or whatever technology is being built to grow the business. And so without a person like you who's it's almost like your middleware, like you translate the concept in executable terms for the team.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And then it's also like you take the executable terms back to the client and express why it has to be that way to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been doing this?
Since I started working at Putti, it's almost 3 years in February, so 3 years and 2 months. Yeah. And yeah, I know.
So Putti would have died without you in the past 3 years.
Yeah. But then, before that, I was like more in the like hardware, kind of doing IT, kind of like systems administration. So actually putting together like and the hardware for company, like businesses and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so you've gotten into this, and you can answer this question in two ways, right? Can you tell us a story about a complicated situation that you've had to wrangle with in terms of projects, and it can either be recent or whatever's happened in the past 3 years.
Two of the ones that I do a lot of my work for, like more like that are recurring kind of jobs, are bigger kind of clients, so the turnover is quite high.
Weird flex, but okay.
So it's like, so a lot of the time you'll have to be like re-explaining or like going over the same things over and over again, which kind of like you're doing that multiple times a year, or you start getting email queries and it's just like these people actually just never got taught by the other people how to use like the app. So like, it's just, I guess, a lot of like having to be like patient and making sure that like now when I kind of get towards the end of, I guess, a project, or when I'm doing something that I've had explained a few times, I just make sure that I like put together like a sheet like list of like how to actually use it, so that like I can just send that through to the person, and then I never have to like, then like next time they ask the question I can be like, here's like your documentation, you can
just reply to all, copy everybody.
Documentation.
Hey guys.
It's just send list documentation. Well, there was a point last year for one of the big ones where I think for a solid month I was just putting together the documentation for their big thing that we did.
All right, so if you need like big documents, Logan and just put you on blast like that. That is in itself complex, right? So what is not seen in a tech company is is a lot of these other business functions that we actually have to execute and deliver to make things happen.
Yeah, and people become quite reliant on you being like available and like ready, like at a phone call really quickly, or like so many emails are marked like urgent, and then
True. I mean, I think it's because of the movies, to be honest. Like when you say you work for a tech company, what would they imagine all the time? It's all these screens and people just with the hoodie and
yeah.
What happens is there's a lot of communication that takes place. A lot of these brainstorm sessions on a whiteboard. A lot of meetings that happen, whether face to face or a video call.
Yeah, it's quite social in a way.
It's quite social.
Normally it's kind of seen as like an antisocial kind of. But yeah, it's quite a social.
Right. That creates or that actually qualifies a tech shop or an agency, a tech agency to work with in terms of how great they are and how, and not as great in terms of that. Because the quality of the work is number one. Mm-hmm. The skill required to deliver that has to exist, and the management of that skill has to be in place. And the other external efforts that we put in terms of these other business functions we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that this conversation with Logan gives you a little bit of a perspective of what goes down, mm-hmm. what goes down behind the scenes in terms of, making a tech project happen. In the 3 years that you've been doing stuff, mm-hmm. what type of tech projects were they? Like just category wise, were they all software? Were they apps, or what were they?
Yeah, like a real mix. I think of like everything. I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
A real mix of it. Well, it's still pretty vague. Like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so there's been like apps. There's been like some middleware. There's been like just like forms. There's been like software.
Okay. What is middleware? What is middleware? Yeah, because you talking.
You used the analogy so aptly before.
Yeah, I realized that. But for the benefit of whatever it is, imagine middleware as a translator of languages, right? And it is a pass-through between two different systems or two different pieces of software, which allows communication to take place mm-hmm. and deliver and connect data across. So it's quite different. It's very, very back end kind of.
Yeah.
So you've done a lot of apps as well. I mean, you've handled projects that are apps as well, which is mm-hmm. very front facing.
Yeah. With
a huge back end component, but you've also done stuff that's purely just back end.
Yeah.
Okay, which one's more exciting?
Quite like when it's like an app. I think that's where my like job and like skills are kind of like used, and like it's a bit more fun to like have like this huge idea and to try like break it down, and especially like because you have to have like the MVP phase where like it's a bit more like the kind of bones of like what eventually it might be, and then you get to break down all the features into like you can kind of see what the future of it will look like, I suppose, before while you're putting it together. Yeah.
Wonderful.
But yeah, I do find apps and like a bit more exciting, I suppose.
They mask the pain. No, I'm kidding. Well, I think apps are quite exciting just because tangible, a bit more visible, a bit more like, you can...
And a lot of the time it's new.
A lot of it
as well.
Yeah, a lot of the time it's new, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the world of Logan. This is the world of a business analyst. and it's pretty nice. This interview doesn't do it justice, but I've seen personally Logan in action and how projects unfold and actually finish and get launched. And so it is an exciting kind of life what we live here. Okay, so some rapid fire little questions. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Here we go. Mashed potatoes or baked potatoes?
Mashed potatoes.
Ooh. Beach or mountain?
Beach.
Beach person. Okay, what do you do on the weekend?
Typically we'll go for like a couple of runs, and then otherwise probably play some like games with some friends, like PlayStation games or PC games or board games.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. No code? Code.
Probably no code.
No code. Personal preference is no code.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. Top 3 songs that you would sing in karaoke.
Karaoke, oh. I like to go for the songs that get everyone up. So like your your YMCA. I think you were in the bathroom. Sweet Caroline also always gets people up. Sweet Caroline. And normally, sometimes you're in a good, the right crowd, "Wannabe" by the Spice Girls.
Oh, that was epic.
That'll get the crowd going.
It will. It will. So you do it for the crowd, but not for you. That's very altruistic of you, Logan.
Well, then you don't have to really sing. You know, you got everyone else shouting. You don't have to.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just the fact that all the projects rely on him, but also he likes to donate his song choices to the betterment of the group. Logan, man, this is awesome, dude. Thank you. He is now going to run to take a flight back to Wellington.
Yeah.
And we will see you on the next episode, the next podcast. Hopefully this was entertaining and kind of helpful. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's helpful. All right, cool. See you in the next one.